Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, Altcoin Shipper here with the Crypto Market Review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not expert doing research. Today I'm just going to review Bitcoin and ETH, so let's get to it. This is Bitcoin on the 4-hour. We'll just take a look at the daily really quick actually, just because we need to get an idea of what's going on contextually. So what we see here is this entire region is a big supply zone. So what I mean by that is that there's a lot of sellers, and you can generally see this with volume profile as well, where you take volume profile and you see a lot of volume transacted within this area. And from the get-go, this area was probably always going to be resistance, and it was a consolidation right before another deep pullback. So, you know, we chopped around here for like a month or something like that, and then we went all the way down to, you know, 17K or whatever. So this area was always going to have like a decent amount of sellers, in my opinion. And that's currently where we're at. It's been an area that's prices consolidated at all the way since March. You know, we tapped the low end of this range back in kind of late March or whatever, and now we're still here. And there was another area back, I think, what was it in, well, Bybit chart is probably not that great, honestly. Okay, let me look up. Okay, Bitstamp chart. Fuck it, let's just, okay. Okay, so this current area, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like this, it kind of reminds me of like this area that we saw back in early 2018. So really 2017 time, honestly. Price couldn't break past this level for literally, like, you know, a long time. So, you know, it took years basically for this to get broken. And I'm not saying this is what we're currently experiencing right now, but, you know, as you can see back in, you know, 2017 or 2018, 2019, and then later on in 2020, price didn't have a weekly close above this, you know, 12K area until obviously you know what happens next. 12K, 10K to 60K. Price erupted up and kept going. But, you know, this is just a good representation that, you know, price can really chop around these certain areas for a very, very long time. And that these large supply zones, they can exist, and there's just going to be a lot of sellers within certain areas, and these areas can obviously just be very hard to break, and they can take a long time. They take a lot of effort. Like, you know, this is the top end of the June 2019 rally, and then price chopped around here again in 2020, and couldn't break it over, you know, a several month period. So what am I trying to say now? You know, again, I'm not trying to say like this kind of area is that, you know, it certainly could be. And if you look kind of like on these other time frames, it makes sense that this area is like an area of importance, because this area was all support. And then now we saw it tag up as resistance, and resistance again, and resistance again. So, you know, again, I'm sorry, I know this was supposed to be the 4-hour time frame, but we kind of just got lost. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that this area could still be resistance for quite some time. We just don't know what it's going to look like or how it's going to break. I mean, it's almost an inevitability, in my opinion, that price does go higher. Obviously, like, I'm a crypto maxi, so I believe that, you know, Bitcoin will eventually go there. I just don't know when or how long or what it's going to look like. But, you know, the illustration back here was just to show that price can chop, you know, in certain areas much longer than you probably think. Okay, so where are we at? Price, again, consolidating at this current supply area. I think it's fine just to scale down lower time frames. And it's also important to also analyze, too, that, like, I had another chart. I can't remember where. I probably just delete. Okay, here it is. And I probably showed this one in other videos too. So, you know, if you've already seen this, then I'm just going to explain it again. So what you see here is that price hits a multi-week price floor. And, you know, price, what I mean by floor is it hits support. And then we see some deviations below, like these yellow boxes. And then price makes a very quick reclaim. So, you know, we saw this strong move down back in March where, you know, I thought it was kind of over for a bit. And then price bullzookas up, you know, from like the 20K area all the way up to 27. Same thing here where it starts to look really gross and ugly. And then price moves, you know, from 25 all the way up to 30. Now, again, I think it's important to note, and this is what I said before too on my last video, is that it's really important to understand that the current highs that we're seeing right now are not significantly higher than the high that we set back in April. So what I mean by that is that, you know, there was a high that got established back in April 14th, and we're barely like kind of hit above that. So, you know, contrast that to like, you know, the highs that were set back in the previous consolidation back in February, you know, around 25K. Like 30K was still a pretty significant move up, whereas this is not really that significant. So, you know, this big move up that we saw back in June was awesome, but it wasn't really super convincing, similar to what we saw back in March. Anyways, this was the price action that we've seen before, and this could have been just a deviation that we saw recently, but price still couldn't break above this 30K area. That's very important to note. This area could still be a lower high, and what I would like to see here as a bull is to see a reclaim of this this former low support area. So I'd really like to see a reclaim around, you know, 30K would be really important to me. If we see a reclaim of 30K, then that would look really solid, in my opinion, for Bitcoin and really all of crypto. And if it were to follow the last two strong moves up back in March and June, then we're going to see some big moves up, you know, at this point, back up to potentially 35K. Now, I'm still of the opinion that we're going to hit like this midterm 35K target. And the reason is just that we're still in a bullish market structure, in my opinion. You know, we can start to look. I'll do a video another day on this. This is going to be like some lower price targets that we could potentially see later on this year. Like maybe we just see like price get crushed and go down like 20K, but I'll talk about that another day. But to me, you know, price is still printing higher highs and higher lows. So to me, as I said, we're still in a bullish market structure. We're still hitting higher highs and higher lows. Marking out the lows here. I don't know if this is a low yet or not. We're going to see. But so far, you know, we have seen these higher highs and higher lows established. But again, I'm not super strongly convicted right now in this sense. And the reason is that the recent high that we saw back, you know, established in July, this wasn't a very strong high relative to what we saw in previous moves up. You know, again, as I just highlighted, the previous move from 25 to 31K, very strong move up as a high. Whereas this current high is pretty much the same area that we just saw back in April and May, this kind of consolidation area. So again, not really a very convincing high, and not really feeling super strongly overall about this type of price action. And yes, you can say this is a bullish market structure, but this is not, in my opinion, a bull market. A bull market in crypto is where you just long every fucking dip and it just keeps going in unrelenting fashion. Like we saw in 2021, like what we saw back in 2017. That to me is a bull market. This to me, even though it's a bullish market structure, this reminds me of 2019. 2019, great moves up. But ultimately, you know, the rest of 2019 that we saw later on that year, even despite the early parts of it, was led by lots of chop, and it's in itself kind of its own market cycle, where this was just a bearish market structure, hit lower highs, lower lows, and then right when we were starting to recover back in February of 2020, you know, we all know what happens next. So To me, this kind of reminds me of 2019. It kind of reminds me a little bit of 2022, where we just have like these long periods of low volatility, not really strong moves up, lots of chopping. But again, the altcoin market still is kind of chopping around. It's not similar to 2020, where we have DeFi summer and a lot of other narratives. So yeah, it's still to me like 2020, 2019. But as I highlighted before, I don't really think this is really super tradable for many people. Like I would like to see, as I said, a reclaim of this 30K level. This 30K level, in my opinion, would be very, very important. And you can just see over here, like you can just see lots and lots of support here, right? Support, 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 break underneath. And then now we're starting to hit some resistance, right? Resistance 1, resistance 2. We haven't seen price clear above it. So anyways, that's what I'd like to see here for Bitcoin. I have a phone call now, so I'm going to end this video. And I was about to end anyway. But looking forward to do more videos tomorrow. Talk to you guys soon.